Hi, it's Sonia, and welcome back to my art YouTube channel. Today's rather exciting because I have a new microphone that I hope I'm using correctly, and I'm hoping this is going to allow me to vary, I don't know, some shots of the studio, maybe make it a bit more interesting, because I can be further away from my phone, which I use as my camera. Today's topic for this video, so this is going to be sort of a chat one, so please, I like to draw along when people are having a bit of sort of an art chat. So yeah, feel free to work along on your work while I chat to the camera. But there will also be a process video that I'm going to insert because it would be a bit boring just seeing me sitting here. But the theme of this, and I have prepared, so hopefully I can keep to topic. The theme of this video is going to be on why, this is sort of a personal opinion, why I think it's important to take your art seriously or romanticize your art. And I get this for myself, there's two sides to this coin. So I also feel there's the opposite viewpoint, which is perfectly valid, and I also do, and that would be maybe next week's topic, which is, just covered it up with my post-it note, why I think it's good to sometimes not take your art seriously, have a laugh with it. I think, as I say, this is a really personal opinion. I feel like I like to, depending on what's going on in my life, how I'm feeling, I think sometimes either viewpoint will come in to it. But yeah, maybe this will speak to you, maybe not. As I say, this is just my personal take. I think it's why I thought it might be helpful is I do believe that considering your why you're making art and your process is helpful sometimes into getting the best out of your art time. And yeah, so it's just sort of a good question to consider. So I guess basically I made a mind map. My main issue with it, or my main theme, is that I think it's important because at the end of the day, the only person who is going to take your art seriously is yourself. I mean, I personally, yes, maybe if you're a successful artist, you're going to have buyers or collectors or museums who will be coming to you. But for a lot of us, I'd say, should I again generalize? For the majority of us, at the end of the day, art might feel to be a bit of a personal need or part of us, and it's got to be, I think, the best with anything in life. I guess generally they say, like, intrinsic motivation is key. And I think for myself, like, at times, the times when I have taken art seriously or I've romanticized the process, I can see that I have got some, great results, a good body of work. I've enjoyed making the art. I've learned, I don't know, it's just been more fulfilling. And one of the ways I think I have sort of done this is actually, like a lot of people in general, is to look for role models, and when I say that, I mean artists. So in general, for myself, artists, but musicians, anybody in the creative field, I feel like it really helps to sometimes listen to some interviews or podcasts or delve a bit deeper into other people's routines and, how they've approached their art, their way of taking it seriously or romanticizing it. And I think this is, for me, I like to have a bit of a, I guess I'm looking at streams, but I like to look at artists that are big, that, museums, art history. It's always interesting. Like, I've seen documentaries on Francis Bacon. I mean, his studio is amazing, and some of the difficulties as well that he went through, and all these sort of artists before, who are maybe, big artists. That's helpful, and there's lots of material on them, to be fair, on the internet and for free, like on YouTube I found documentaries. And then I also like to look at, because I guess I'm a smaller artists, and I used to do this a lot on Instagram. I find people these days, I guess this is why I'm on YouTube, because I have appreciated finding smaller artists who I can feel sort of more, who I feel more like myself, or maybe in the same niche within art. It's such a big topic, really. And within that, I think it's also it's good to find role models or people that you can, I guess, romanticize and help you romanticize your process, that are maybe smaller and more doing the sort of working this maybe similar conditions, or have the similar thoughts or insecurities as well. I think that's big for me. I like to know I'm not alone. I think that's probably quite common, isn't it? And there's that sort of being vulnerable, and I really do appreciate when artists and people, actually small YouTubers, are really honest and take you, you know that they're taking you into their thoughts and what's going on for them. So I feel like there's that, the thing that sometimes works for me, and if one should admit this, is that whole, is it they say, I mean, some things are said because there is something in it, that whole fake it till you make it, or maybe put on a mask. I think there's something, I guess do find myself doing this, especially if you're not feeling confident. And I've had a bit of feedback sometimes. I get in the comments, oh, please don't waffle on about confidence and stuff, like it's not a big thing. But again, if you're a really confident artist, that's great. Go watch YouTube videos with highly skilled artists who are also confident. But for those of us who maybe don't necessarily come from creative backgrounds, or have some things from the past, like, actually, I feel getting the confidence to pursue the art that I want to pursue in the way I want to do it, there is something I find quite fun about sort of pretending. Like, when we were little, when we were young, we all had, well, maybe some of us, general, like, had big imaginations. And I remember, like, I used to love playtime when this is like going to elementary school or primary school, and we used to play, imaginary, I think, was it called Dungeons and Dragons, was the cartoon on telly, and we'd be the characters, and I could really get into my imagination and pretend to be whatever character was assigned to me. And I loved all that imaginative play. I had imaginative play with my Barbies, like, getting into, I guess actors talk about this, going into characterization. And I sometimes think there's something quite fun for artists in embracing that as well. And I'm kind of thinking, I wish I could be like sort of Cindy Sherman, how she getting into personas. I think Ryan Gander, one of the artists I've watched videos of, I mean, completely different field, like a contemporary artist, talked about having different art personas. And I feel that's something that, I don't know if I'm aware of it or not, but perhaps I'm embracing. Like, I like to sort of, when I'm doing different work, sometimes I'm in an abstract headspace, and I'm just in my own sort of world, and I'm taking it, sounds bad, but at the time that I'm doing it, I'm taking it, that half an hour, whatever amount of time I've got, I am taking it seriously. I know there's abstract artists before me that are now important, and people love their work, and we wouldn't have their work if they hadn't obviously dedicated themselves to their practice and taking the time to explore that. And so for myself, I can see, especially when you're getting into a new genre of art, and it's very different to something that you may be skilled or practiced in, it does take time to become more familiar and practiced at it. And often the work I did at the beginning, there's sketchbooks that I've thrown away, a ton of sketchbooks, to be honest with you. And I have also got rid of a few abstract sketchbooks because, it was good to practice. I wouldn't be at the stage now I think I am at, which I'm a lot happier with my work. And I am more confident in saying that I do abstract art without having put some time and grit and going through, making a lot of scribbles and trying to learn about abstract art. And also embrace, oh my gosh, that's probably going to sound really bad, that high pitch bit, but also embrace I love that whole making ugly bad art, having low expectations, almost to sort of help you get to a place where you're happier. That's part of it. And then I think the other reason that I think it's really important to, wherever you're at, whatever stage, be it a working artist, hobby artist, whatever you feel comfortable calling yourself, is that I think it's important to take it seriously, because otherwise, the risk is, for me, the tendency is, if I don't give it a little bit of thought, I will leave it. It will be the last thing on my, to-do list, and it won't get done, and I won't get any art in. And it could be, if then you sort of forget about it and you get out of the habit. Other things take priority, or they seem to be of far higher priority. And so, yeah, I think if we start to romanticize it and take it seriously, we are more likely to prioritize it. And what I like to do is what's really worked for me, because another reason I'm doing this project, talking like this, is that I am doing currently, I've called it, I wasn't sure, I've got to be honest, I was really hesitant when I started my term time daily drawing project. I was like, I still am, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to carry it on for. But the idea was that I was going to put on my to-do list every morning. I like to have a handwritten to-do list. I'm going to put daily drawing on it, and ideally sometimes it's worked well in the holidays for me to get up super early and come in and, as it were, do a piece at 5 a.m. But now, otherwise it's just something there on my to-do list for the day, and it's a pleasurable task that I can then tick off, and it just feels like I've given it some weight in my day-to-day life, even if it's just 10 minutes or 15 minutes getting something done. And the other reason, I guess, the term time daily drawing, I think, has been important to me at this point, is because with my kids going back to school, I think there's that whole starting the school year again. And I feel like I'm trying to encourage them to take, to place importance on learning and school and studying. And then myself, even though, I'm older, I think I wanted for myself to create my own sort of a little bit of an art school, maybe a little bit of a curriculum for myself, a weekly project that I would put a bit of effort into, that I would do homework for. So that was sort of one of my ideas about it, because on reflection, like, I'm one of those people, I think I really did love school. It was a place, I think, of safety for me. And yeah, I just loved learning. It was really great to be exposed to, all these different subjects. And I remember, I've got a couple at high school now, but going to chemistry and using Bunsen burners for the same time. And I think, so I think I'd like to be a lifelong learner. I always want to be trying to, push myself in different ways. And I think, and now I have this opportunity to do that with art that I think maybe I stopped myself from doing in the past. I definitely didn't feel it was important or to be taken seriously when I was younger and studying, I guess, medicine and working as a doctor. So yeah, it's a chance to, I guess, depending where you're at, make your own art school up. We all know there's a lot in the, in common press at the moment about the cost of education and art schools. I think I keep being shown on YouTube that art schools are closing down. I do think there is an opportunity with all these people sharing online content that you can almost, come up with your own curriculum, write down some things that are interesting you, maybe have a go at devising your own projects, watching some artists that, that inspire you. So I guess that's one way also of, as it were, like filling the creative well. I like to listen to podcasts. I like to read long form articles, books. I'm really trying to embrace. I've got some good art books. It's always nice to take a look through them for inspiration as well. Okay, what else would I put here? Trying to keep on topic. Environment. I think environment can help to romanticize the process and make it much more pleasurable. I think, obviously, I do get that everyone has completely different environments, situations in different countries, if one is listening to different YouTube videos. So it has to be adapted to where you're at. I know for myself, I try and put my own work up because I feel that makes it feel like I can see what I've done recently. I can see where I'm going, where I maybe want to change tangents. So I am trying to get better at changing it up. Sometimes I just forget about the wall and then it just stays up. But try and, again, I have written about this as well. Like, I do understand a lot of the time some of us may want to hide our art. We may not feel confident in having it where people can see it, strangers or our own sort of friends. then I would say there was always, so what I did do back when we were living, I had small kids and we were renting in Switzerland, is I had it up on my bedroom wall because my husband was very supportive, but I've got to be honest with you, I didn't want other people to see it. I was just getting back into drawing and painting then. So yeah, I put it up on sort of over, I had a desk that I worked at, and I put it above it was in the bedroom. And then, yeah, also even I do appreciate I've got a space now, and I am really grateful to have this space because this is the first time, and this is why I'm able to do YouTube videos, because I would feel really weird talking like this in the house. But it's sort of in our ADU home office. But I have also experienced, like, when you have very young children and not much space in London, working at the kitchen table. And then I tried to have a drawer where I kept my art supplies that I could like get out and do when they were napping. So yeah, just I think it's good to have, I like to have my art stuff out, even in the house, because I do want to be able to do it sometimes in the kitchen. I have got taken up a little bit of space in the kitchen with some pens and pencils. That's also for the kids. I've argued it's because I've got kids and I want to encourage them to be creative. But yeah, having the stuff out, I think it's like willpower, isn't it? Like, I've just been eating some chocolate chips because I try not to, which is, I know, not healthy, but I try not to like buy lots of chocolate because I know if I buy all this stuff, I'm going to eat it. But so it's like the opposite, like not having it, I'm not going to hopefully eat too badly. But with art stuff, I want to have it out because I want to be encouraged to go to it. So there's no, I don't have to have like this willpower thing. I don't want to have to remember that I've got art stuff. I want to see it and I'm like, oh, okay, I've got 5 minutes. Let's do a sketch. What else did I put? Okay. So, yeah, and the other idea is, as I've said about, you don't have to tell anyone. I've said this before, but I did read Elizabeth Gilbert many years ago, Big Magic, and I really liked her idea of a secret affair. I feel, yeah, especially when you're starting out, I feel that's a really good way of viewing it. Like, you've got this, you're putting importance on it, and it feels, well, it's kind of romantic, and you've got your muse or whatever, and it just, I don't think there's anything wrong in, you're not, as long as you're not doing harm, in really engaging in that whole creative spirit and whatever it is that's going to like really motivate you and get you drawing and enjoying painting. I just don't think that I'm sure someone could argue the opposite, but I don't see that there can be anything wrong in that. And I've got a book as well that I quote, which this quote is from, that your brain on art. So again, there's obviously the health benefits from art that we know about. So another reason to take your art seriously is that we know it's good for us now. But there's also the quote by Bonnie Ware that's mentioned there that really speaks to me, and it's one of those ones that she said that she's had patients, on the deathbed, often sort of, was it the 5 regrets of people who are dying, and one of them is, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. And yeah, as I think for some of us who've come from, and it's fair enough, hierarchical or authoritarian backgrounds, or from sometimes placing, and others may not have even placed these expectations, maybe we place them on ourselves. This isn't to at all blame anybody, but we might have sometimes gone down paths where we've tried to like please sort of everybody else but ourselves. And I think you can sometimes, I think it's possible to hopefully do both. And one of the ways I think we should be allowed to have freedom and live a life true to ourselves is in art. I really feel the whole point of art and creativity is to express ourselves, express our points of view, to be frivolous, to be serious. So yeah, I think that's why it is really important for me that I do take art seriously, because also for myself, this is why I sometimes have to, I'll come next week, I will talk about why it's good to be lighthearted and have a laugh in art and maybe go the opposite way. But for myself, I think I have perhaps grown up with the feeling, or I don't know what the word is, the viewpoint that basically work is equates to being good. Like if you're a good person, like you have to work, and we know obviously life, obviously you need shelter, food, so obviously work is very important. I get that, but and caring for family and everything. But it was always, I felt like for myself, like play and hobbies were not necessarily were looked upon as a bit of the last thing to do, like a waste of time essentially. And you could get in trouble as a kid if you were like drawing too much, because then you're not studying, and what's the worth, and there's a lot of, and to be fair, I think it is, people sometimes don't put a lot of what's the word, weight on art necessarily, because it is a really hard career to earn money from, to be successful at. And so I think for a lot of people, it can be, there could be a sort of a barrier or a procrastination to getting on with art, because you don't feel it's going to like benefit your family or your earning potential. But I think for myself, that's why, even though I really need to see art sometimes as work, if that makes sense, but fun, like I am working when I'm doing art, is how I think I've kind of turned that around for myself. And I see it now, to allow myself to do it. Sometimes I can be like, oh, I am just playing, but I see play as part of the work, if that makes sense. But I do need to see it that I'm doing something that is a little bit worthwhile, and that may be helpful to others. And it's definitely also looking upon it just that I am also allowed to enjoy myself, and to experience, to embrace the pleasure that can be an art practice as well. So I think, so what I'm saying is these are just my ideas on romanticizing art and taking it seriously. I share them just in case I like to listen to artists like a pep talk to motivate you. I think it's always good to think of the opposite as well, a good debate, a healthy debate, like why probably we should take art very lightly and it should just be maybe for fun and have a laugh with it. And I will look at that next week, because there's times when I do just embrace that side of things. But as I was saying, for myself, I don't know if there's any artists like me, but I tend to be very, and maybe I feel like I work best when I am responding to my own like emotional state or where I'm at, if that makes sense. And so I don't like just to be rigid and keep to one viewpoint. I am pretty changeable, like with my art. I don't know if anyone knew, but I do a lot of different art, and I get bored if I do the same thing. And I think with that, I also feel like I'm more likely to get bored if I'm not putting some thought into why I'm doing the art, like just going through the motions. Like it's good to sometimes just have a think about, what am I doing? How do I want to like improve the art? What could I pursue more seriously? How can I make it more fun, romantic? How can I make the process feel significant and, I don't know, deep, had a bit more depth to it as well? Okay, so hopefully there is a process video on top of this, and hopefully the sound quality isn't too bad, and you've had a glimpse at my desk, a different view. Thank you as always for watching my videos. I'm trying to be a bit freer in making videos and not worry so much about, I don't know, I think I got a bit caught up after summer. I got out of the habit because I was offline, and with anything, I've realized the benefits of a daily practice, and also just exposure therapy. Just the more you do something, the more comfortable you are in doing it. And I found that in most things, like be it art or taking up running, or and even with videos, I do appreciate, I think I felt a bit more open and when I was making videos more frequently. So I am trying to be less script. Well, I've never written a script, but like a bit more freer in making my content at the moment, and going with what I enjoy, sort of videos that the videos I want to make are the ones that I like to watch. And also, this has to be also benefit to me. Like, what do I need to give myself a pep talk in, which is what I'm covering this, and what do I want to explore? So yeah, that's what's going to be coming from me, and a few more sketchbook tools. Actually, I'm going to go now because yeah. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.